Wai Yun.
Members, good morning. It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. Let's start the election of chairman of the panel on economic development. The Secretariat has issued notice to members that only one valid nomination has been received. The member nominated is Mrs. Regina Ip, nominated by Ms. Eunice Young, seconded by Mr. Andrew Lam. As Mrs. Ip is not chairperson or vice chairperson of any other panels or advisory committees of the government, under the rules of procedure and House rules, I declare Mrs. Regina Ip elected chairman of the panel on economic development for this year. Congratulations. Thank you. I now hand the floor to Mrs. Ip. Thank you for your support. I will continue to be the chairperson. Now the election of deputy chairman. The Secretariat has sent out a notice to inform members that they have only received one valid nomination for deputy chairperson. The person nominated is Mr. Im Kong, nominated by me and seconded by Mr. Chairman Kong. As Mr. Im Kong is not the chairperson or deputy chairperson of other panels or government advisory committees or bodies, under the rules of procedure and House rules, I declare Mr. Im Kong elected deputy chairman of the panel on economic development. Congratulations. Now item number 2. Schedule of meetings for the 2025 session. As per past practice, our regular meeting takes place on the first Tuesday at 4:30 in the afternoon. I ask members to note the proposed schedule of meetings tabled in front of you. Any comments or questions? Well, usually in March, around the 4th, it will be the meeting of the 2 sessions. It's just a reminder. We know, we are aware of that. We'll leave the meeting there for the time being. Well, we discussed matters relating to 3 policy bureaus. We will keep that in mind and make adjustments as necessary. Next item, items for discussion at the next meeting. We have the list of outstanding items for discussion. It will be sent out to members. Regarding items for discussions in the next meeting, a number of policy bureaus have made suggestions. The next meeting will take place after the Chinese New Year on the 4th of February at 4:30 in the afternoon in room 3. We have the first item, development blueprint for Hong Kong's tourism industry 2.0, modernization of government dockyard, and action plan on green maritime fuel bunkering. I ask the Secretariat to make some adjustments so that there will be more time for the discussion of the development blueprint for tourism industry 2.0. I believe a lot of members would like to speak. If necessary, I'll extend the meeting. So all 3 items are important. Work plan for the 2025 session. As per past practice, I will first meet with the secretary of 3 policy bureaus. They are the Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism, and Secretary for Tourism and for Transport and Logistics. I'll talk to them about our work plan. If members have anything in mind that you'd like to discuss, please make your suggestions to the Secretariat. I think I will meet the 3 secretaries after the Chinese New Year, that is in February. If you have any suggestions, please do so. Mr. Frankie Yick, I have a few things to say. Well, there is the modernization of government dockyard to be discussed in February. Of course, we support that. If we are to develop Hong Kong into a maritime hub, well, if there is urgent repair for large vessels, there is only one dockyard available. Is it desirable? I think the government should take stock of the situation and they need to support the development of another large-size dockyard. The other item, policy in relation to the logistics industry. Well, as you know, that the government has acquired a lot of brownfield sites, which has affected the logistics industry. When it comes to the green belt, if certain conditions are met, then approval is given for development as modern warehouse. So I think that since we are talking about the development of logistics industry, then we need to talk about relaxation of the use of green belt. Development of silver economy. There is a members' motion this Wednesday to discuss it, as we now have a higher proportion of elderly population. Well, there are problems with their mobility. There is a serious shortage of rehab buses. So should we look into more alternatives to make it easier for elderly people to move about, say, for example, if they are wheelchair-bound? Thank you, Mr. Yick. Yes, we should talk about the first 2 items as to whether there should be more barrier-free facilities available for elderly people. Do we talk about it in a panel on transport or panel on welfare services? Yes, but I know that there is an item for rehab buses. Perhaps we will discuss it in a panel on welfare services. We will leave it to the subcommittee on silver economy as well. We also have a number of members who would like to speak. Mr. Chen Xiu-Hong. I see in the list there are a lot of matters of concern to us. In a policy address, the Chief Executive mentioned that the Hong Kong Maritime and Port Board will be upgraded into Maritime and Port Development Board. The Secretary said that the plan will be announced in the middle of the year. This is a very important reform. How can the Development Board implement the action plan for maritime development? I think that the Secretary should come to talk to us at the right time to give us more information. We need to know what will be the work relating to the upgrading of the Maritime and Port Board. Last year we had a meeting in relation to low-altitude economy. It was an appetizer. The main course will be in relation to the 70 or so regulation sandbox, but they are not really for application. I think when it comes to low-altitude economy, it's not just about food delivery or delivery of goods. We're talking about what more can Hong Kong do. How can we cooperate with the GBA? How can we make use of low-altitude economy and turn it into a new economic drive for Hong Kong? Well, we have a subcommittee on promoting Hong Kong's economy. I think the TLB is involved as well. Perhaps there can be a joint meeting with the transport panel. Another thing I'd like to talk about is mega economy. This is something that we're all very excited about. We hope that the mega events can become mega event economy, driving economic activities. I think it involves this panel as well as the culture, sports, and tourism. At the right time, we need to have a joint meeting to talk about mega events economy. Thank you, Mr. Chen. Members, if you have any questions, please press the request to speak button. The clerk would need to know who plans to speak. Of course, you're most welcome to make suggestions. Mr. Michael Wong has given us an appetizer. It is to be followed by a main course. I'll talk to him. I think it is the Deputy Financial Secretary that coordinates matters regarding mega events. There is an upcoming major conference by a bank involving 3,000 people. In May, there is another foreign bank organizing an investment conference. There will be about 3,000 participants. These are very important because the visitors will stay overnight and they are high-end visitors. I think better coordination with the government is required. There are 4 members waiting to speak. We need to make good use of time. Gary Zhang, Stephen Ho, Yeo Pak Leung, and Yim Kong. Anyone else? Mr. Sunny Tan. I'll draw a line here. There is another meeting going on after this one. Each member will have 4 minutes. Mr. Gary Zhang. Just a quick word. I think the TLB will focus on the development of Airport City. A plan will be announced. I think that we need to discuss it as well. Mr. Ho? We thank Mrs. Regina Ip. Last year, she was fighting for us to get a discussion about marine economy. Now we need to talk about new energy as well. I hope that the panel can invite law enforcement agencies to come to us when it comes to regulators, say Marine Department, Marine Police, Custom and Excise Department. They may not be aware of economic policies. It's right that they enforce the law, but there needs to be policy coordinations as well. So they need to be involved in the discussion. So next time when we have relevant discussions, please invite them along. Next, Mr. Perry Yu. Thank you. Focus of the meeting in February is the Tourism Industry Development Blueprint 2.0. A lot of members are concerned about this, and this is cross-policy bureau as well. When we have a discussion, can we ask relevant policy bureau to come to us? We can study the blueprint together. We can look at the KPIs of different policy bureaus under the blueprint. Yes. We will have a discussion with the leading policy bureau. They will bring along representatives of other bureaus to take part in the discussion. Next, Mr. Im Kong. Thank you. Mr. Chen Xiu-hung has talked about low-altitude economy, which is also something I'd like to say as well. Well, there is an economic benefit of 5 trillion yuan, and it will increase in the near future as well. So I think it should be a separate discussion item. The second item I'd like to say is study economy relating to study, we are going to have the Northern Metropolis University Town. I think we can have a joint meeting with other panel to talk about studies economy. That is in relation to mainland students coming to study in Hong Kong. So there should be a separate discussion on low altitude economy and another one for study in Hong Kong brand, which is mentioned in the policy address. Is education and industry? I think we need to discuss about that. Lastly, Mr. Sunny Tang. I believe that last year we had a discussion about the Hong Kong Airport Authority Dongguan Logistics Park. In the policy address, there was some mention about the latest development. What I'm concerned about is that it is an infrastructural project that involves shipping by air, sea, and land. We need to marry it with economic opportunities to maximize the benefits for Hong Kong. We also need to look at if there are areas that needs to be adjusted or changed. Mr. Chen, you know that the Dongguan Logistics Park is a project by the Airport Authority. They have used a very innovative idea because it's cheaper and faster to have the park on the mainland. So your suggestion is that when it comes to development of infrastructure, the government should be innovative as well? Well, the Dongguan Logistics is transport by sea. Can we also consider using it by land? Should the scope of activities in the Dongguan Park be expanded? We're all talking about a cross-boundary e-commerce. So do we need to do something more? I think the Dongguan Park is land transport related. I believe that there was a mention about attracting more businesses by sea. Well, it's mainly by sea, and now I suggest that it should be land transport as well. Mr. Frankie Yick, I think the application should be intermodal. The government is moving along this direction. So it's intermodal, involving land and sea transport. We make suggestions to the STL. I thank members for their views that you're all very concerned about Hong Kong's economic development. You have made a number of suggestions. I will discuss with the secretaries about items for discussion in this year. Any other business? No, thank you. Meeting adjourned.